Hi guys, and welcome to Jab and Move with your host Stephen. Very quickly, I want to just do a video going through what I think will happen for the huge unification fight on Saturday night between Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury. Now, obviously, done a couple of videos on this already about previewing it and the original face-off that we had for the second fight. But obviously we are close now. We're only 2 days away for the main event, and we're starting now to see the fighters, see the shapes, see their confidence, starting to hear what they're saying, what they're feeling. So let's just break it down, go through obviously a little bit of what happened in the first fight, and then also go through what I think personally is going to happen moving forward in Saturday night's fight. So yeah, very quickly, just going through the first fight again. I've covered this before, but I want to quickly run through it. I feel it was a 3 or 4 round win for Alexander Usyk. I think the first 3 rounds, he was the busier fighter. He was landing more shots. He wasn't throwing as many, but he was landing more shots. He was being more effective in his punches. And again, creating that space, having that moment. He was just pulling back a little bit, but also keeping the constant pressure, trying to take the center of the ring and have that sort of gauge of when he could throw the punches, when he could go to the body, continue working on the body in the first few rounds, which was impressive, getting around Tyson Fury's jab and getting close in that space, being able to do that, but then also being in and out quite quickly, so Fury was unable to get his range. And that shows the first few rounds. You can see Fury's mind. He was trying to work through it. He was trying to get that jab. He was trying to get the jab to the body, really trying to pressurize Usyk when possible, but he just couldn't quite gauge where Usyk was going to be and get that range for the punches, like I say. So he was very much on the back foot for the first few rounds. And then it turned a little bit. I think we've seen Fury trying to outbox Usyk for the first few rounds. And then he realised, actually, let's try and put my attributes forward. Let's put my size, let's put my weight, let's put some pressure onto him, try and command that centre of the ring. And I felt that he did that quite well. The first couple of rounds, he definitely did that well. He got more pressure. You could tell he hurt Usyk a little bit. I think he got a few punches in there that definitely gave him something to think about in that period. And he definitely, again, with the body jabs and stuff, he did them to really good effect. There were a couple during the fight that were a little bit lower than they should have been. But overall, that was actually one aspect of his fight I felt he did really well. But then as Usyk does, and Usyk has done for a very long time, he adapts. He has this ability in fight to be able to change up, notice something's not quite working, and then reconfigure and go again. And he did that, moving on from sort of the 6th round onwards, and especially all the way up to the 9th round. The pressure got asserted again. I think he was quite lethargic in the 4th and 5th round, but he is known, and you'll see this in the Joshua fights from previously, and the fights with Cesaro and Dubois. He will take a round off, a round or 2 off at some point where he is not quite as mobile. His head is not moving as much. His feet are not as agile, and he just regroups, gets his energy back, and then goes again. And I think he used that sort of 4th and 5th round a little bit when he knew that he was going to have pressure on him to take a step back, work it out, absorb some pressure, knowing that he could do that. Obviously making sure he didn't get hit too hard and in the wrong place. And then obviously processing that and moving forward. With, like I say, the 6th round onwards was phenomenal. He adapted. Again, he got the speed back in. He was pressurising again. 6th was a little closer, but then 7th onwards, it was him. He was continually pressurising. He was able to not only work the body, but what he did quite well was, especially sort of 7th, 8th and into the 9th, he feinted quite well to the body, but then released the jabs onto the head and got quite a good few headshots in on sort of the 7th, and he knew he could get to that. He did that quite a few times to effect, moving in to his left on Fury's right and being able to land the left hooks and stuff onto the face, which was incredible because obviously I think at that point, as you can see, Fury's face down the side was damaged. You could see him obviously when he was fighting, he was just continually moving his hand up to his face. He knew he'd been hurt, and he kind of signified that as well, that he was hurt at that point. And then Usyk, that's when he put pedal to the metal and just went for it. And again, that 9th round, straight into the temple, straight into the face. He hit him perfectly with about 4 or 5 shots, which then at that point, when he hit him with a combination by the ropes, Fury had gone. He was nowhere at that point. I personally believe, he had been knocked out at that point. He was standing, don't get me wrong, fair play to him, his legs were still sort of holding him up, but were his legs there? No. Did he have any faculties at that point? No. Do I think he put himself in a position where actually the referee, I personally think, should have stopped at that point? Yes. He bounced around from 5 times on the ropes. There was no way he was able to fight back. His arms were slumped down the side. He was back and forth, rolling from rope to rope. He was in no fit state to carry on fighting. And personally, I think that is actually a derelict duty on the referee's part. I thought the referee did very well for most of the fight, but that is the one area where I think actually that 9th round should have been ended, should not have continued. And the fact that it took him to the point where he slumped into the corner and Usyk is literally bearing down on him with the punch ready to go when the referee stepped into a standing count, which I thought was a joke. Honestly, he should not have continued. That should not have happened. Fair play to Fury. You're never going to get a boxer out of there. You're going to have to drag him out. But the referee shouldn't have allowed it to happen. The only reason he did is because it was for the undisputed, and it was the first undisputed of this century. If it wasn't for that, I really don't think he would have continued the fight. But again, for me personally, derelict duty there from the ref, and it should have been stopped. But it continued, and again, Fury got himself back, much more of an even sort of 10th round, but I think it took the 11th and 12th went very much to Usyk after that. So the fight itself, we see a couple of adaptabilities. We've seen Fury show his size and power, and we also seen adaptability very much beginning, but what we see was continual adaptability from Usyk, and the speed, the engine, the agility. And I think this is where the second fight is going to be interesting, because Usyk will come in around 220, 225. He usually does. He floats around that number quite comfortably. That's where he is. That's his comfortability. That's what he likes. So he'll come in at that sort of number. Fury last time, I think, was 39 pounds heavier. On the previous fight, I expect him to be around about the same. High 30s, low 40 pounds heavier. I think actually looking at a couple of the photos and some of the stuff from, obviously, the pre-game in Saudi, I think he looks a little bit bigger, so I don't know if he's bulked up to try and really go for the power again. I know he did this previously with Wilder. Has he done this with Usyk? That's great, but again, it limits his rounds and what his ability and how much engine he has to do and what he can perform at. And we all know Usyk is a tricky customer. Usyk will go at 12 rounds. He will go for 10 rounds full power. He will take 2 rounds off somewhere, but he will go 10 rounds full power. So leads me to what I think is going to happen for the fight on Saturday night. And personally, I think we'll start very much the same. I think Fury will try and impose himself, get himself to the centre of the ring, but I think initially Usyk will then get in there. He said already, I'm not going to leave you. I will be by your side. I generally believe he will be there. And I think he'll be putting, again, pressure on that. Do I think Fury adapts better this time? I don't. I think he'll try again with the bullying techniques, trying to put his weight on him, which he should do, trying to pressurise him. He can't outbox Usyk, but I do think he will try to outpower Usyk. And that's where I think he'll try and maybe try and play the Dillian White game again, where he waits for that jab, tries to do an uppercut, tries to get something where he's going to get that power punch, that 1 or 2 punches that are going to get that knockout. Because I think if it goes to full 12 rounds, Usyk wins on points again. Again, he should have won unanimously last time, but split decision. He still won. Luckily, the right guy still won. But I do think Fury will try and impose himself more. I know he said he doesn't need to change anything from the previous fight. I think that's ridiculous. I think he can't fight on the back foot like he did before. He can't give rounds away like he did in the early doors. He has to try and impose himself early and get that power and force his weight onto Usyk. In regards to Usyk, I think we'll see a little differences again. I think he will come in and still do initially the dancing around and stuff, and obviously having the ability and the engine to go and really pressurise, hit the body, hit the face, try to get as much damage as he can early doors for the first few rounds. But then I think he actually puts a lot of pressure on Usyk, and I think a lot of pressure on Fury, and I think he actually goes for the knockout. I think after last time, to have a split decision after that fight, which I personally think, like I said, it was a 3 or 4 round swing in Usyk's favour, especially with the knockdown, the standing knockdown, to take it to a split decision. He knows in the back of his mind now, he cannot be in a position where he's leaving it to the judges. He's got to go out there, and I think he will want to go out there and actually put an end to this. I think he'll want a knockout, just to say to Fury, so Fury can't say, oh, I won it, or it was close and it could have gone either way and I think I've won it, or because we're in a war-torn country, that's why we've won it. I think he'll go there and actually make a statement. I think he gets him out there, and personally, he beats him quite a lot in the latter rounds. Personally, I think he goes for a knockout, and my final result, looking at what I've seen from the first fight and what I've seen from the fighters so far and the way the face-off went and everything else, Usyk gets him out there by round 10. I don't think he goes past round 10. I think he gets a knockout and gets him out there by round 10. I think Fury will put up another good fight. Fury is, for me personally, still the second best fighter. Obviously, we'd have to see him versus Dubois to make that decision on who is the next one behind Usyk. But Usyk, for me, is the premium fighter of the division. He's phenomenal. Fury is absolute world class, but I just feel Usyk is that bit better, and he will then again show this on Saturday night. So let me know what your thoughts are. Again, I think by round 10, I'm actually going to say it actually, 10th round knockout, Alexander Usyk to edge himself into absolute books of greatness, and this will catapult him to one of the greatest ever. I don't think Fury gets the revenge, and I think at this point it would be a defeat for Fury and a 10th round knockout win for Alexander Usyk. So let me know your thoughts and comments below, guys. See what you guys think of this and what you think is going to happen. I'm looking forward to seeing who we think is going to win. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you after the event. Enjoy. Take care, guys. Bye.